of Central American women and girls are raped crossing into the U.S. 80%. So yes, there are rapists out there, uncomfortable as that fact may be for some to admit. Immigration affects public safety, and anyone who denies that is ignorant or dishonest. And yet a lot of people do deny it. Confront them with reality and they call you names. They denounce you. Diversity is our strength, they screech, as if that settles the conversation by itself, like a magic talisman. They don't want to know the details. Facts are a threat to their fantasies. They don't want you to know the details either. Shut up and obey. Those are their orders. But no matter what they say, facts don't go away. They persist despite official attempts to erase them. And here are some facts about the state of California. Democratic Senator Kamala Harris has called her state the future of America, and she may be right. California has for generations been on the leading edge of national trends in this country. So looking at California, what does it tell us about our future? Well, in California right now, more than 6% of the entire state is there illegally. That's about 2.5 million people. 1 million of those have state driver's licenses. Politicians in California are very proud of that fact. That has issued a press release to brag about what a great place California is for illegal aliens. And by the way, they're right. Compared to Oaxaca, it is a great place. It's way better. But what is California like for everyone else? 44% of Californians now do not speak English at home. The state no longer has a common language or a common culture. Its infrastructure is collapsing. Debt is out of control. Schools are unusable. Public spaces are filthy. The middle class is fleeing California for all of those reasons. Normal people can't live there anymore. In 2016, more than 100,000 Californians left. Housing prices are out of control. Wages are too low to keep up. The state increasingly consists of tech oligarchs and their imported low-wage servants. That's the point. California is developing the economic structure of Latin America. How long before it's Venezuela? You're not supposed to think about any of that. Our leaders command you not to. Send the National Guard to protect the borders? Why would we do that? As Morning Joe reminded us just today, border crossings are down. But that's a lie, like much of what you hear right now. It's untrue. Last month, more than 50,000 illegal immigrants were caught at our border. That's 3 times as many as were apprehended in the same month last year. Things are getting better. Go to California and see for yourself. As Kamala Harris says, it's our future. Noorani is executive director of the National Immigration Forum, and he joins us tonight. So here's just a broad question, and I'm glad you're back. You've been on the show a number of times. You've made the case, it's a pretty common case, that immigration, low-skilled immigration included, makes us richer. If that is true, why does a state with the highest number of immigrants, legal and illegal, the highest proportion of immigrants, now have more poverty than any other state and is almost $1 trillion in debt? Why isn't it working there?
Well, in California, you have an economy that is the 6th largest economy in the world. And I'm not going to say that California doesn't have its share of challenges, but those challenges are not to be laid at the feet of the immigrant community. There are challenges that come with a fast-growing economy that is, quite frankly, presenting challenges for everybody. So there are a lot of policy changes that can be put into place to help everybody prosper in California, but let's not, blame the immigrant
but you're sort of, but hold on, wait,
I'm
not blaming anybody. I'm actually asking you to defend the argument that you've made on this show and that many others like you make every day, which is that America becomes more prosperous because of our immigration policy. Here's the state that has more immigrants than any other, and it's getting poorer. So I'd like to ask you to account for your position, if you would.
So when you look at the agricultural community in California, it is easily the largest agricultural sector in the country that is driven by and large by the immigrant community. The rest of the country has a hard time eating without the Mexican, the Latino.
But that's not true. That's not true. Well, California agriculture has become increasingly mechanized over the years. I'm from there. I have ag people in my family. There, it requires less labor now than it did 50 years ago.
When I talk to growers in California, they're looking for labor to pick crops, such as strawberries, melons. These are not crops that you can pick with a machine, Tucker. I mean, you know that. So
strawberries are one of the few crops that you can't look. Agriculture needs labor. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying it needs less labor than it did 50 years ago. Yet the state has far more immigrants.
Then why are growers looking for? Then why are growers actually leaving crops on the ground? Because
look,
they don't
I'm
have a
not attacking. Look, there are water problems in California. There are land use problems. There are a lot of problems in California. Labor's one of them. But the truth is, you have argued consistently on this show that letting in more people from other countries with low education levels will make us richer. We have a case study in stark relief called California, and the opposite has happened. So I really think the onus is on you to give a real explanation, not tell me that agriculture brings a lot of poor people, and that's not true. And you know it's not true.
So what happens in California, again, the sixth largest economy in the country, is that you have immigrants who are coming, working alongside American workers and their families, whether it's in the tech sector or in the agricultural sector. In both sectors, immigrants are helping create jobs in California. I mean, Tucker, you're trying to lay the problems and challenges.
I'm not late. What I'm doing is asking. Hold on, no. What I'm asking for is an adult conversation, which is what you and others are trying. No, because you're not. You literally just stared to the camera like I'm some kind of moron and said it's the ag sector that's driving immigration to California. I know the numbers. That's not even untrue. It's ridiculous. So here's my other question: if California is a paradise, why is the middle class leaving? Why did 100,000 people move last year over a 7-year period? 675,000 more people moved to other states from California than moved into California. Why is that happening?
This is because in California you have a state that has, or a state that has all these incredible land use and zoning issues that you just talked about, Tucker. Again, this is not a problem that is at the immigrant community's feet. This is a problem that is facing California overall, and this is these are the challenges that comes with such amazing economic growth. If
it's so amazing, then why are people leaving? People who were born there are leaving. Let me ask you one last question, since I don't think you're going to concede that immigration has any role in any of this, which, with respect, is dishonest, and we both know it is. But let me ask you this. Irrefutably, 44% of California households do not speak English at home. Does that bother you at all? Do you think that long-term that suggests problems ahead, a state in which there's no common language? Do you think that possibly could cause problems there?
So when you talk to educators, when you talk to families across the state of California, you see that they are looking to learn English because they understand that if they learn English, they get a better job, their children have a better lot in life. So the fact is that the immigrant community in California and across the country is waiting in line to learn English. I mean,
so why is that number rising every year? Every year you have a higher percentage of households in California that don't speak English. So if what you said is true, why is that fact true? Because both can't be true.
Because you have more and more people who are looking to actually learn the language, which is, I think, the ultimate way to become American.
And yet more and more who don't know it. Magic. Okay. I'm sorry. Look, I just want to have a fact-based conversation. Nobody else does. You're a racist. Oh, whatever. But like, this is real.
Nobody said that, Tucker. No, I didn't say that. Tucker, let's not put words in my mouth. I mean, we're talking about the economy.
I don't think that you said that, and I didn't mean to suggest that you did.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't. But many people say that, and it short circuits the conversation. Anyway, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Well, the administration pushing ahead with plans to deploy the National Guard along the U.S. border. Ronald Vitello is acting Deputy Commissioner of U.S. Customs and Border Protection, where he has served since 1985, amazingly, considering how young you look. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So I want to ask you a kind of negative relief question. You're hearing increasingly calls to eliminate federal border enforcement. What would happen if we did that?
The border's a dangerous place. People are coming up from all over the world through Mexico and other places, and you would have a much different situation in these big border cities if the Border Patrol wasn't there, if the state, local, federal law enforcement wasn't there protecting people.
So there's been a debate in the last couple of days over the degree to which the government of Mexico helps the United States control the flow over its borders. You heard calls in the Mexican legislature yesterday to stop all cooperation on border questions with the United States. If that happened, what would our borders look like?
We have a strong relationship with operators and individuals, both at the political, the strategic, and the tactical level with Mexico. It's essential for us to share with them specific information. It's essential for them to tell us what's going on, what they're seeing. They do provide services for us on their southwest border, on their southern border, and that's important. It's been important over these last several years.
Is this caravan that we've been reading about still on its way? Are members of it still coming? Do we know the answer?
The latest we're hearing is that it's being dispersed for lots of different reasons. People are choosing to take their own path. Mexico is helping settle some of those folks, and they have repatriated a number of them.
So apprehensions at the border are higher than they were last year. Why is that?
From March this year versus March last year, over 200%. What we're seeing is loopholes in current law and policies that exist now in the United States are actually encouraging people to come as families or unaccompanied minors to the border. There's also an economic there's also the economy's better in the States.
Right.
And so people are coming for that reason also. But because of these policies and the way the law is constructed, lots of people are coming as part of a family or as a minor, and they're being released into the United States. That encourages more people to take that dangerous journey. That's why we're trying to do everything we can to put our plans in place. That's why this new capacity coming our way we're looking forward to that.
Let's say someone comes from Central America, takes the beast across Mexico from Honduras, for example, and makes it to the Tijuana border crossing. What happens then? Can that person be sent back? Is he brought in, processed? Where does it go?
So when they present themselves to an immigration officer, either at the port or between the ports where the Border Patrol works, they're taken into custody. They're afforded their rights under the administrative process to have a removal hearing, to have an administrative judge decide whether they can stay in the United States or not. But because they're from a non-contiguous country, Honduras is quite a ways away, while they're set up for that hearing, oftentimes they will claim asylum, fear to return back to Honduras. And so they're released under that condition that they'll come later to a deportation hearing. And the show rates for those hearings is very, very low.
I bet it is.
And so you have this cycle that's in the law, these loopholes, people are exploiting that, smugglers are exploiting that, criminal cartels are taking advantage of that and using it to raise funds on that journey. They're smuggling these folks.
The honor system doesn't work on Halloween, and it doesn't work on the border, I would say. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.